Welcome to the last class, that is class 20 for the essay idea discussion. In today's class, we are going to discuss a prompt that is just another type of a positive and negative development type essay. We know that in comparative essays where prompts are, is it a positive or a negative development, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? In these types of essays, we identify them as comparative essays, right? And we make three body paragraphs. One paragraph in order to discuss the positive side, body para 2 for discussing the negative side, and body para 3 in order to compare both these sides and give an answer why one side is bigger than the other. But sometimes your examiner adds an extension to this prompt by asking the reason behind the situation also. So many of the students consider it very lengthy essay, but it can be tackled in a very easy way. For example, if we read the topic, in many countries, more and more people are competing for a place to study in universities. Why does this happen? In order to answer to this question, my tip is to answer this question in a single line in the introduction itself. How would you make your introduction? You would say, in many nations, the competition for university entrance is hard. This happens because the number of seats in the universities are less. So that would be your answer for the first question. And then you would be answering this question in your intro. Though it has its own merits and demerits, yet the positive side is bigger or negative side is bigger. You may choose anything. So today we will choose that negative side is bigger. Then in your body paragraph number 1, you have to frame your positive idea in a way that it also shows the reason of this essay or this situation. So in the body para 1, you would say, on the brighter side, cutthroat competition in university entrance test is due to far less number of seats than the aspirants. So this is your reason. But the tests allow the universities select the best candidates. This is the benefit. So, because there are growing number of people who graduate from schools every year, but the number of universities are quite less. Hence, the number of seats that are being opened for every course are very less. Therefore, there are competitive tests that are being conducted by the universities. The benefit of these tests is that universities can select the most deserving candidates for the particular courses. When the aspirants or the competitors write those entrance tests, they can showcase their knowledge that would be necessary for them to pursue a course in that field further. In this way, only the deserving get the admission, and they might excel in those areas and might be very contributive for their future society. If there were no competitive exams, then any random person could get admission in the universities, and then they might not be able to perform well. They might not become competent doctors, engineers, or interior designers, or anything for that matter. Therefore, these tests are essential so that the basic knowledge could be checked, so that only deserving candidates get through. In the second paragraph, you would be writing the drawback of this trend. You would say, on the darker side, often even the equally deserving candidates are deprived of getting enrolled in their dream campus. Because the competition is so hard that the person who gets the admission into the dream campus stands at, for example, 99% marks in the competitive exam, and the person who is rejected might be having 98% marks. So just because of the discrepancy of 1% mark, the person might be rejected from getting an admission in the prestigious institutes. So the person who had been scoring 98% on a competitive exam was also almost equally deserving and intelligent. So that might be a bad day on the competitive day, on the exam day, that he was not able to perform 1% more. So cutoffs are so high, and most of the students that fall in the highest margin actually fill all the seats. So it might discourage the other aspirants who had been burning the midnight oil in order to prepare for those entrance exams. They might not able to educate themselves further in the best of the campuses in their dream fields. So they might have to change their field of academics, or they might have to choose a less maybe less prestigious campus, or a campus which doesn't have many facilities, or the campus that doesn't provide such a high quality of education to them. So it is a wastage of the talent of a country if most of the students are not getting admissions. In the third para, you would say comparatively the negative impact is bigger because the missed opportunity for many fine brains is a long term personal and social loss. If most of the fine brains, because if 3 lakh or 5 lakh students are writing an engineering entrance exam, only 10,000 and 20,000 of them get the admission in the best institutes. All the other candidates, like the 80 to 90% of the candidates, those might also be very good brains suitable for the engineering programs. They would have a personal loss because they might miss the opportunity to become a good engineer in their life. And if they don't become good engineers or teachers or doctors, for that matter any professional, that would be a loss to the society. Therefore, it is advised that this competition should be reduced and more universities should be created, or universities must increase the number of seats in every course that they are offering. In the conclusion, you would say, although the lack of required number of seats is leading to cutthroat competition among the aspirants who want to enter into graduation or post graduation, but it puts largely a negative impact on the society, and also it discourages most of the aspirants. I hope that you understand how to write your argument in favor or maybe against a particular trend. If you're going to say that it's a positive impact, then you should be having a different argument for that. But it is easier to prove that it is a negative aspect, it's a negative trend, because there is going to be a loss. We see that only 10% people get through those competitive exams and 90% of them are discouraged. So that's a huge loss. Therefore, we can prove it to be a negative aspect or a negative trend. I hope that you understand. I would suggest that you watch all of these discussion classes again and again so that you can fetch maximum vocabulary for your IELTS exam and you can readily have ideas during your exam for any particular topic. If you have any other topics in your mind that you find challenging and you want me to discuss those ideas or you need vocabulary on them, feel free to drop me a WhatsApp message. Thank you. See you in the next classes.